So free to play makes money. Whether it's Fortnite or Apex Legends as your shooter, or Valorant now, or League of Legends or Dota as your MOBA, so many genres have a free-to-play game with millions of players and massive amounts of revenue that come in from it. And it makes sense why a lot of these companies are looking at free-to-play when over 80% of revenue of all games has been brought in by free-to-play games. Now, of course, mobile is a massive market for that, and I understand there are a lot of people who, when they hear of mobile gaming, they roll their eyes, and I am a big console gamer. Even when I was playing Naruto Ultimate Ninja Blazing, pushing the global leaderboard to get the funny number or something like that, I still never considered it a real game. But I had an experience working at a theater where there were a ton of kids talking about games, getting so emphatic, and everyone was playing together. They weren't talking about Xenoverse. They weren't talking about fighters. They were talking about Dokkan Battle. I couldn't deny seeing the amount of excitement and joy, and the fact that everyone in that group could show off their account because they all had a phone and there was no barrier to entry. That is a very powerful force in games, especially nowadays where there's so many more games, media, things to draw your attention away. That is a power. Now, fighting games is very tricky because unlike some of these games like League of Legends as an example, where you learn a role, or Apex Legends where your fighter adds some abilities but there's a base level of gun that you use, that's not really the case with traditional fighters, where you might have your Ryu versus Akuma being the closest they are, but anyone who's played the game a long time knows that a specialist in one of them is not the same as someone who just dabbles in both. And there have even been games that have tried to go free to play and massively failed. Now, I was a part of the Icons Combat Arena community. To anyone that looks at it now, it was a joke, and that is fair. You will not hear me, or I'm sure any of the people that I met during it, say that it wasn't handled terribly. But the beginning of that game, when it was started, before they released, it was beautiful. The beta was incredible netcode. Way before Slippy or rollback was a normal concept in people's minds, this was phenomenal netcode. Something we had never had in Smash or anything like it. The characters seemed really fun. The devs were talking. There was so much going on and so much hype. They had funding. It looked like the game was going to have a bright future. I tried streaming for the first time because I thought that this game really would take off and I wanted it to do so. The release of a free-to-play game is incredibly important, and that is where they drastically fumbled. If you look at the game online now, it is a horrible rating, and it was even worse when they launched because of two main factors. What I brought up, which they patched in a week after release and the damage was already done, was that they didn't let you try out your characters in training mode, which is so important if you're trying to decide who you're going to unlock or purchase with your money. Now, they did give you, and this is the second thing, a free character unlock, but the biggest problem was that they gave it to you as your level 2 of your account progression, which only required one match of playtime before it unlocked, and then you could buy whoever you want. Now, the problem with doing something like that is that initial impression of someone scrolling through finds a game that's free and says, oh yeah, I'll try it for whatever. They say they're advertising a free character, I can try whoever I want. The problem is when you lock it behind that and someone's scrolling through those menus going, where is this thing? I want to find it. I want to get this character that looks really cool to me. And they don't, and they're forced to play a game they've never played before and fight someone who probably is playing the game a ton and beats their ass. That's a horrible experience. And it was reflected in the comments. It gave the worst opinion for the game. They kept the free character unlock at level 2 and gave an additional one to start out, and that didn't remedy it. The damage was done, and the game died very fast after. Now, a game that has done this kind of model, that is the closest thing to a fighting game, I shouldn't use those air quotes, the closest thing that's done that is a fighting style game, is Brawlhalla, which has a big enough character roster that they can reliably have a rotation, similar to League of Legends, where there's always a character to try out for free, and they make it that the currency they give you, you can pretty quickly find a character you want. It is also very similar to Apex Legends in that there is a base set of skills that are character independent. In this game, every character has 2 weapons, and each of those has their own specials like B moves and Smash Bros, but they also have an unequipped fighting style that everyone else has. And these weapons have pretty much the same basic attacks too. The only difference between your characters is their signature moves and their stats like speed and such, and it does make a unique feeling, but you know intrinsically your muscle memory and your emotions so much when you jump between characters that it's not as big of a deal as if you were to go from playing in Guilty Gear, let's say Testament, to playing Potemkin. Not only do you have a wildly different tool set, but even the way that you're inputting your buttons and moving your hands will drastically change. And so this is the big problem for fighting games, is how do you do in this game that has character loyalists to such an extreme, a model that's free to play and benefits the company, that doesn't force a lot of content to be behind closed doors. Now, I'm going to pose an example for Guilty Gear Strive. Let's say that the game is free to play to download everything it has in its current state. And when you come into the game, you are given the choice of Kai or Soul to unlock for free as your Shoto, as well as 2 character unlocks. I think that's very fair. Now, I'm going to throw that, of course, this doesn't sound like a lot, and to anyone, they're probably like, hey, we need to try these out. Every character is free in training mode, but not just that, every character is free offline. The competitive landscape is incredibly important, especially for a game like fighting games. So making sure that people don't have to, purchase a mad amount of things for a setup is integral. By having everything unlocked offline too, this lets everybody try the single player content a ton, which, is what some people really want to get a taste for in this game. Now, while characters are free offline, these unlocks work for online. And I know for myself, and I'm sure there are a lot of others that are there, that if a game gives you a lot of offline content that you really enjoy, you feel good about spending a $5. You feel good supporting this game and giving them. And also, if you do that, when your friend comes over, they can try whoever they want, and that makes it all the more likely for the company that if 2 friends enjoy playing together and then they're like, hey, this game is really good online, let's play, after school or after work or whatever it is, that person's much more likely to be like, sure, I'll spend the $5 after they've already found a couple characters they love and unlock those. And look, I know what the person who's played Guilty Gear will say, because I'm with you. This game, its IP is not strong enough to be able to do this and make money and be the level that it is. And yeah, that's probably correct. But if we're to take the millions of players of a game like League of Legends, or the fans of a series like Naruto or something like that, are you gonna tell me that you don't think that they could really make that work? I have such faith that a game with a strong IP will be able to come along and take advantage of a model like that and blow everyone's expectations out of the water. It speaks for itself. When you have a free-to-play game, you're looking at over 15x the amount of people that will play it easily. And that's lowballing if we're being real. And if we're talking about an IP that's really popular, it goes astronomically larger. Look, there are not as many people that play games the same way that a hardcore fighting game fan would. There are a lot of people that play a game for half an hour and decide, I'm done with this. And yet in fighting games, it's not too rare for someone to give 5, 10, 20 hours to a game before they truly decide for themselves, yeah, I don't like this game. I mean, this image is the famous one that is hilarious, but it only can really happen with a game like this. For a lot of casual game players, these games are just where they want to blow off some steam at the end of the day. They're not looking to be the best, far from it. They just want to have fun. It's the reason why there aren't that many people that talk in Twitch chats that are below a certain floor level in Guilty Gear. Whereas in the world for League of Legends, if you're bronze, you're in the top 10% of players. Of course, people will be, rude and be like, oh, well, you're still the bottom of those that matter, but shut up. Like, still, of people that play the game, that will support it, that will watch, that will make this scene grow, that rank is still top 10 percentile. And that's something the fighting game community has never known. But I really do think that it is a way to make a game that will thrive and then not have to worry so much about making the game a dumbed down version or simpler to try and cheaply hook people, because people aren't stupid. They know if a game is trying to put training wheels on it for them. All you got to do is just make it enjoyable at all levels and make it possible to play with the people that you want to play with, and you'll have people that love spending your time on it. And if you have that many people spending $6 a character when they finally do, or you have this some that don't mind spending a ton more for costumes and other things, those companies will make so much more money, because we've gone away from the time where we don't have options anymore and they can try and squeeze every penny out of us. Now with all of these options, a company gets players to play their game by ensuring that their time and dedication will be rewarded, because our time is valuable. And being an active player to a game company is viewed as an asset. You're not a waste to them if you don't spend a cent. They're happy to have you. And they want to make sure that your stay is comfortable and fun. That's all I gotta say for this today. If you don't mind, drop a follow, like, anything that you got, because I really do love doing these talks. I really want more of them to be coming on the way, especially talking about Project L or anything in the game space. So if you have anything you're interested in that you want to hear about, let me know. I'd really love to know. But until then, take care. Have a lovely day. It's pretty nice out. Hopefully it is every day in the future that this gets watched. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.